Hey guys, Dr. Andrew here from Rabbinic Chiro Wellness Centre. Welcome to today's episode of the Chiro Couch. Now, one of the things I recommend regularly is for people to do some home improvement exercises at home, and that's going to help your spine get fast results. But I'm forever hearing excuses of why don't people have enough time or energy, etc., and they just don't get the results. So breaking bad habits is actually a little bit harder than actually creating new habits. Sometimes it's easier just to add a new habit onto an old habit as well. You see, every year I see people create these new resolutions. Some win and some don't. So why is it so hard to break bad habits? Well, I'm going to give you a recommendation. It's a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And this book explores the psychology behind the habit formation and what demonstrates how human brains create these habits. And then it gives practical advice on how, if you stick to these new habits, you will eventually abandon those old bad habits. Now, here are some of the key points that you'll get from that book, from Atomic Habits. When you focus on a goal, people will run into four problems. You'll have winners and losers, and it's hard. You just don't know why win and some lose, so you just don't try. And when you achieve a goal, it's only momentary, and sometimes you just want the next level up. Like the grass is always greener, as they say. And if you don't meet your goals, sometimes it can be mentally disastrous to you and you stop trying again. And goals have to be a specific accomplishment, and it doesn't create sustained change. So that means once a goal's achieved, you don't progress. Now, the best thing you could do is not to become preoccupied with goals, just focus on the sustained change. You see, the human brain makes decisions on four processes. It receives a cue to perform an action, it creates a craving to perform that action, it responds to that craving, and then it receives a reward or consequence for that action. Now, when it receives a reward, it's likely to repeat the cycle, and if it doesn't get the reward or has a consequence, it's not likely to repeat it. And if this cycle is repeated, this is what forms a habit. So I'll give you an example. An example is, you wake up in the morning, you want to feel alert, you drink coffee satisfies that. So you do it every single morning. Now, another thing we need to think about is that human brains are also hardwired to take the path of least resistance. In other words, the least energy it takes. My teenagers will show you that for sure. So when creating a habit, you have to make it easy. So you've got to make it obvious, you've got to make it attractive, you've got to make it easy, and you've got to make it satisfactory. And if you could do all these things, then you can basically invert a bad habit into a good habit by reversing it. So, is it invisible? Is it unattractive? Is it difficult? Or is it unsatisfactory as well? Now, the other thing you've got to consider is your environment. Your environment plays important factors to determine your habits. It provides cues that might start you on this habit loop that you don't want, or cues that you do want. So, for example, if you're trying to quit drinking, don't go to a pub. It's not a good idea, because that could create one of your old bad habits. Now, another thing that we can look is about time. See, it's not about time, it's about frequency. And a behavior will become automatic when that habit loop is completed over a certain number of times. And it's more for one person than it is for another person. So consistency is the most important thing when starting a new habit. Now, other than making it simple, let's make it quick as well. Instead of saying go to the gym, let's say I'm going to do 10 push-ups. And then every single day you do that, and the next day you do 10, 15, 20, so on and so forth, until you actually start going to the gym. Now, I've got a few more things I want to quickly run through, and another one is that you want to track the habit. Put a little calendar on the wall and tick off when you do it and cross when you don't do it, because when you look at it, it can make you want to follow that trend and actually complete it in the future. That way you look at it and go, damn it, I didn't do it yesterday, or tick, you did it today. The other thing you can do is enlist a partner. So an accountability partner can be really helpful. They can ring you and say, how did you go today? Or you could do the same for them as well. And you've got to challenge your brain. But if it becomes too difficult, then people will get bored and give up, okay? But if it's too easy, they sit there and go, oh, I did that, it's not that hard. So you've got to find that happy in between. So there's so much I could talk about it, but in summary, if you want to start getting better with doing your home exercises, just follow that 4-step framework that I said before, okay? Brain's got to receive that cue triggers the craving, we respond to that craving, and finally we have a reward or a consequence for that particular craving. Now, inversely, if you want to break a bad habit, do the reverse. Make that habit invisible so that no cue is ever received. Make it unattractive to undermine any craving. Make that habit difficult so that the response is harder, and make it unsatisfactory so your brain is not prompted to repeat it. So whether you're trying to make new habits, break bad habits, the key is keep it simple, keep it frequent, and keep it desirable. And if you liked what I had to say, why don't you read that book about atomic habits, and hopefully you can create some good habits. Now, my name's Dr. Andrew from Ravenna Chiropractic Wellness Centre, and I'll see you with another topic on the next week's Chiropractic Couch. Bye for now.